I'm John Cobb with Cobb Cycling, and I'm doing another video to help people understand how to position themselves better on the bikes and hopefully how to use my products better. Today I have a local racer named Stephanie who's brought her bike in, and this bike is very typical of what girls ride. Stephanie is 5'6" or 5'7", and girls that range from about 5'4" to 5'8". They usually have bikes that are set up like this, and what happens is the handlebars come from the factory set, either higher than the seat or just almost level with the seat. And this is a women's specific frame, and it comes with a taller head tube and a shorter top tube, which makes the situation even worse. And so we're going to do some work because Stephanie's problems are seat comfort, hand problems, neck problems, and lower back problems. I brought the bike in, did some initial measurements, and this seat, she had tilted it up trying to take weight off of her hands, and this seat's tilted up at 6 degrees, and the seat has a setback of 5 centimeters on the bottom bracket. So Stephanie, come on in, and we're going to have her pedal for a minute. And Stephanie's been riding for about a year. She rides about 75 miles a week, and she's done 3 or 4 sprint triathlons. I did some power tests. I thought that would be kind of interesting because just estimating her power versus her mileage, I felt like that she could make about 130 watts of sustainable power, maybe 140 watts at the most for a 25-mile distance. And with her aerodynamic area, because she's sitting up pretty high, as you can reference the lines on the back wall, her aerodynamic drag I thought would run about 7 pounds, and so we're going to make some changes and see if we can help that. One of the other problems she has is if you look at the angle of her back, and this is a real common problem for people with this kind of bike setup, is that she's up pretty straight, and so when you hit bumps, your shot just goes straight up through your spine. And what we're going to do is roll her out forward and longer and lower, and use her back as a suspension, so we'll take pressure off of that. First thing we're going to do is change her saddle so that she'll be in a seat that'll let her roll further forward, and go from there. And then we're going to set her seat position a little bit further forward and help with her knee position so that she's driving back into the cranks and build more power that way. Okay, hop off. I had gone ahead and pre-set all this, and we ran through several seats for Stephanie to get her comfortable, and worked out the fore-aft position, and so I thought that would help give a better reference on power gains. And as I said, I get email every day from girls that have these problems. And so our next video that Stephanie's going to participate in is we're going to put a set of aero bars on this bike and get her set up on that. Now on this seat, which is our standard V-Flow, which turned out to be a good choice, we're setting this on here with a 7-degree tilt. And that looks like a lot, but we kept tilting it, and it kept doing better. And we do that to take pressure off of your hands. And hand numbness is a big problem. So now we got the seat set at 7 degrees. I think her seat height's a little bit low, so I'm going to go ahead and just raise that about 1 centimeter, and to get a little better leg extension. And now I'm going to change her handlebar stem. And this is just a typical stem. This is a plus 6 degree stem. It's 80 centimeters long. I'm going to put a lot different kind of stem on it, and you'll see a big change. And normally, I think most girls would be hesitant to do this change. But hopefully after you see the effects it has in the video, and maybe I get a quick testimonial from Stephanie on the outcome, it'll give you confidence to go try it. It really will be a lot more comfortable. I have 100 volts here. But, what happens is with women riders in particular, because they have a lot of times limited power, at 130 watts, it doesn't take much of a change to really affect the aerodynamics. And so by effectively changing to this lower stem, we should drop our aerodynamics down, and I'll give you an example of the airflow directions in just a second. But the aerodynamics change should go down to about 6.5 pounds of drag, and that just means for every square inch of frontal area there's 6 pounds pushing against you. Her time gain over the 25-mile triathlon speed should be about 3 minutes by changing her position. And that doesn't take into account the potential that she'll have for making more power in a better position and being able to open up and breathe better. The stem I'm putting on here is a 100 millimeter 40-degree drop stem, and these are readily available because they normally go the other direction and go on like hybrid bikes, but I found that they work really good for these situations. We'll set those bars up a little bit right there and tighten that up. Okay, Stephanie, come on up. Hop on. Now this is a pretty different drop. This is probably more than 6 inches. But what you'll see is if you reference to the stripes on the back wall, we've made a big drop here, but now she's starting to get suspension in her back. Ideally, other than she'd have to buy a new frame, we'd go even lower. But if you hop down on your drops here, put your hands up, yeah. Down here, she's starting to really get a kind of a decent aero position, because ideally you want your shoulder pivot point here to be just below your lat point here. So she's just now getting a little downhill drop to that. And the reason you want that is you want the air to come in, come over your shoulders, and then that pulls air between your arms and up over your hips, not off the back. It pulls all the air off and it'll really help. Raise her seat just a little bit, and now you can tell by the calf activity that she's driving into her cranks a lot better. How's that feel?
Good.
Great.
Really good.
Good deal.